Wait, is rent in Japan seriously this expensive? I think a lot of people who move to Japan feel that way at some point. But here's something many foreigners don't realize at first. Japan actually has a lot of systems and programs that can help reduce your housing costs. And surprisingly, quite a few of them can be used by foreigners too. Some companies will give you monthly housing support worth around 30,000 yen. There are support programs specifically for international students. And there are even public systems that can help pay your rent if you suddenly lose your job or your income drops. So in this video, I'm going to break down Japan's housing support systems in a super simple way, especially for foreigners who want to live in Japan comfortably. First, let's quickly talk about what housing support system in Japan actually means. One important thing to understand is that housing allowance and rent support are actually a little different. A housing allowance is usually a company benefit. Basically, your employer helps cover part of your rent in addition to your salary. On the other hand, rent support programs are systems provided by the government, local municipalities, schools, or other organizations as part of social support. So, the biggest difference is support from your company or support from a public organization. And there's also a difference between subsidies and benefits. A subsidy usually means you receive support for part of the money you already spent. A benefit is more like money or support you can receive if you meet certain conditions. Alright, from here, let's look at actual support systems that foreigners may be able to use in Japan. I'll explain 6 different types of support systems. First, the Housing Security Benefit. This is a system for people who lost their job or experienced a major drop in income. If you're thinking, I might not be able to pay rent soon, this program may temporarily help cover your housing costs. And yes, foreigners may also qualify if they meet the requirements. However, your visa type and length of stay can affect the decision, so checking with your local city office is extremely important. Second, local government rent support. A lot of cities and municipalities in Japan have their own original support systems. For example, support for low-income residents, support for people moving into the area, or even support for families raising children. Recently, many rural areas in Japan are trying to attract more residents, so some places even offer moving cost assistance too. And more municipalities are creating multilingual consultation services for foreigners now. So if you already know where you want to live, definitely check what kinds of support that area offers. Third, company housing allowance. Honestly, this is probably the most common one foreigners end up using. A lot of Japanese companies provide housing allowances to employees. In some cases, companies help with around 20,000 to 50,000 yen every month. And there's another popular system called company housing, or leased company apartments. This is where the company rents the apartment for you. These apartments might be cheaper than usual apartment. Fourth, support for international students. Some universities introduce dormitories for international students or help cover initial contract costs. One famous example is the JASO support program. But be careful, not every student automatically qualifies. Sometimes there are academic requirements or other conditions you need to meet. Fifth, NPO and private support organizations. This option can be very reassuring if you're not confident with Japanese yet. There are organizations in Japan that specifically help foreigners with housing consultations and guarantor company introductions. Sixth, special quality rental housing. This one is a little unique. It's a system where you can live in high-quality rental housing at a lower than normal rent price. These properties are approved by local governments, so there's usually a stronger sense of reliability and safety. However, there are income requirements. And interestingly, if your income is too high or too low, you might not qualify. Next, let's talk about important things you need to know before applying for these systems. This part is super important. First of all, if you only have a short-term visa or a tourist visa, you usually cannot use most of these programs. Also, many systems require a lot of paperwork. For example, a residence card, a passport, an income certificate, or proof that you officially live in that area. These documents come up all the time in Japan, so it's a really good idea to keep everything organized from the beginning. Now let me show you some real examples of foreigners who actually used these support systems. For example, one foreign engineer received a 30,000 yen monthly housing allowance from his company, so he only needed to personally pay 40,000 yen. That makes a huge difference in your monthly living costs. Another foreign employee working at an IT company lived in company housing that normally cost 80,000 yen per month, but his own payment was only 20,000 yen, while the company covered the rest. Just knowing these systems exist can make living in Japan feel so much safer and less stressful. Alright, let's finish with some common questions. Question number 1. Can foreigners receive housing allowances too? Basically, yes. If you meet your company's conditions, foreigners can absolutely qualify. Question number 2. How long does it take before the support money is paid? It depends on the system. For the housing security benefit, it usually takes around 2 weeks to 1 month after applying. For company housing allowances, the money is often added to your salary starting the following month. Question number 3. Does the support continue forever? Actually, no. If your income increases or you stop meeting the conditions, the support may end. So even after approval, it's important to continue checking the rules and requirements. A lot of people think of Japan as a country with extremely expensive rent. But at the same time, Japan also has more and more support systems available for foreigners now. These can seriously change how much you spend every month. So if you're planning to live in Japan someday, definitely look into housing support systems while searching for apartments too. On Moovin, you can search for apartments in Japan from anywhere in the world. We offer support in Japanese, English, Chinese, and Vietnamese. So be sure to check out our official website from the link in the description. If you thought this video was helpful or interesting, please subscribe and hit the like button. Well then, see you in the next video. I'm cheering with all my heart for your happy life in Japan. Bye bye.